I'm calling the Topsham Planning Board to order. And unless we need to, we have a full board, so I don't think I need to go through every number or name. Just a reminder, Topsham's town meeting, we have that coming up next Tuesday. There'll be a section for the planning board to sit. And what time did we say it was?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Okay, the minutes from the May 11th meeting, those went out. Did everybody have a chance to see those? And if so, do we have a motion?
I move that we accept the minutes from the May 11, 2023 meeting as submitted.
Okay. We have a second. Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed, right? Unanimous, thank you. All right, we have under site plan, 57 Recycle Drive LLC has submitted a site plan application for proposed 20,858 square foot commercial building with 25 parking spaces at 57 Recycle Drive, tax map R02, lot 74. So please state your name.
Good evening. My name is Mike Gatto with Stony Brook Land Use. I'm here tonight to represent 57 Recycle Drive LLC. We have a 4.2 acre parcel that was purchased in May of 22. We're looking to develop a 20,585 square foot multi-tenant building, 1 or 2 tenants, 25 parking spaces, 4 loading docks, 2 drive-in doors. The project will be served by a private well, a septic system. Power will be overhead, lights will be on the building. The parcel has 817 feet of frontage on the road, 496 feet of frontage on an old railroad. We're proposing to alter an additional 1,415 square feet of wetland impact, which will add from impacts that were done previously of 11,398 square feet, or to a total of 11,398 square feet. Those wetland impacts were approved last August. And I think we've been through the ordinance a couple of times. There's a lot of history with this property, but I'll leave it to questions of the board, however you want to proceed.
Okay, and I got a new memo, which I haven't read, but I think most of everything in this other one, there was, under the peer review comments, there was a question about ADA. Has that been dealt with?
Yeah, I believe we addressed the ADA comments, and I submitted a new plan this week that addressed a couple of other comments that staff had asked, and I'm not sure if they've had a chance to look at it, but
Okay.
our details are okay on the ADA comment. So we changed the site plan to refer to the details.
Okay, and this is part of a planned commercial development.
Yes, that was approved in 2013.
Okay, I guess I'll go around the board and do you have a few questions or comments?
I have some questions, but do we want to make the motion of completeness before we start discussing?
Sure.
All right, the directors reviewed the application and determined it's complete, and I move that the planning board concurs with staff's conclusion that the final site plan application materials have been submitted and the application is complete, such that the board may proceed with a substantive review of the application, identification of any further information required from the applicant. Second.
All right. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed, okay. Thank you. So, any questions?
Sure. My first question, it might be more for Julie than yourself. In the memo, it states that the planned commercial development is for 246 acres. My understanding was what we did in 2013 and then subsequently in 2015 was the planned development just for lot 74 and 74A. That it didn't include what I assume by that acreage is lot 34, the Grimmel lot. I think there was expectation.
I believe the original approvals in 13 put a planned commercial development on only the FCM site, which was up front for 2 lots. But then we ended up with a common scheme when we wanted to extend that road down to the industrial facility down on the river. And that whole common scheme stuff has confused a lot of us. And so what does that mean when we went back through the thing in 2015? But I believe that the plan unit development, and I'm sorry I missed that, is only for the front FCM site. We intend to use it for the rest of the site. but
Eventually,
that's-
right. And my other question stems from our peer reviewers' comments about the stormwater treatment system and pond. I mean, we included conditions to watch that in a storm event and see the water level. We've also included the conditions of after 5 years, it's to be looked at, et cetera. That was one of the conditions in either 2013 or 2015 also. What was the report back after that 5 years? Because that would come up in either 2018 or 2020.
The pond was approved in 2013 and should have been reviewed or recertified in 18. It was not recertified until 2022. And it wasn't constructed until 18 and missed. It was supposed to be 5 years after approved, not 5 years after construction. So it was recertified and there were no issues with the pond in 2022. It was inspected when it was constructed as well by both our engineer and the town, monitored that and signed off on the construction that was done in 18. So I have no problem with the condition. I'm not sure we need it, and I'm not sure putting another 5-year certification if we follow 5 years from 22 when we last did it, or whether we follow 5 years from now. But I don't think we need the condition because it's already required to be reviewed, but I'm at this point, I'm looking forward to getting approvals.
Okay. And do we need to clarify that for condition 15? If that's a recertification should be tied to the initial.
I think that would make more sense.
Right. So research.
In thinking of that, if you go from 5 years from 13, that means we did it last year. We would then need to do it again this year. That would 23 would be 10 years. So again, it's really up to you folks to do what you want to do. Well, we could do it 5 years from last year, but again, it's up to you folks. We inspect it once a year anyways by an engineer, but the recertification does need to occur 5 years from, or 2 months prior to the 5 years from approvals.
So either stay with the original baseline, which had to this year, or put like a date, will be 2027, which is 5 years after 22.
I would think that it would make sense to do it in 2013, 5 years, and that way,
It stays.
2 years from now, and something else comes back, we don't have the same question about, okay, which
Yeah, so usually
is the first base?
The initial approval.
Right.
Yeah, get that started right away.
Okay.
That's all the
Anything
questions I
else? All
have.
right. Dan, did you have any questions?
I'm good right now.
Karen? Anyone?
Good, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm all set.
So do you have any other questions for us?
I don't, other than answering any questions you might come up with as you go forward.
Okay. So
Did you note the noise, no truck out?
I did.
You did? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think between, you know, the major changes of realizing we didn't need the waivers for those things and adding in the no idling sign. Made all the issues that I thought we had brought up previously.
All right.
All right, I'll make a motion. I move that the final site plan review application for 57 Recycle Drive, tax map R02, lot 74, meets the applicable standards of the site plan review ordinance, chapter 175, the zoning ordinance, chapter 225, including the specific additional standards for planned commercial developments, and is approved with the staff recommended conditions and findings identified in the staff memo dated May 25th, 2003, with the edit to condition 15 that the recertification requirement is tied to the initial approval in 2013.
Second. Hey, Scott, just a second. Did you say 2003 or 2023? Oh, you said 2003. You tried to say 23.
I hope I said 2020, but I certainly.
We have it recorded, so we can check. Yeah,
I meant 2000.
Okay.
thank you. So any discussion? All right, hearing none, seeing none, all in favor? All opposed, okay, good.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next item is also under site plan. Topsham Lewiston Solar LLC has submitted a site plan extension request for proposed solar farm at 571 Lewiston Road, tax map R02, lots 44A and 84. I was involved in that sale, so I can recuse myself. It's well behind us, so it's up to the board. Okay. All right. So who's speaking to that?
Hi, everyone. Karen Moody from Stantec on behalf of Topsham Lewiston Solar LLC. So yeah, the project on Lewiston Road is not able to proceed with construction at this time. They are going through a cluster study with CMP and don't know when they will have the results of that study. So they can't proceed with construction until they have that. So yeah, the original approval was in June of 2022, and we're requesting a 6-month extension.
Any questions?
Well, the only question, I mean, the extension will go through. Is there any hope that the cluster study will be completed in time to, it's anyone's guess?
Yeah,
it doesn't
it's
sound right.
anyone's guess. We really have no idea. As I'm sure you have heard, I think even from me on other solar projects. So yeah, nothing has changed with the project since it was approved last year, and they're just waiting.
Thank you.
Thank you. So is there a motion?
I would like to make a motion.
Sure.
I move to approve the request for Topsham Lewiston Solar LLC to extend the period of their site plan validity to December 23, 2023.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
That's a 7-month extension.
Yeah, well, it's from the June
I don't
23rd.
have a problem with that. For the date.
But we're not extending it from today, but from the
Expiration. From the expiration date.
expiration date of June 23rd.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All in favor? All opposed? All right, amendment. All right. this
Thank
one-
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This
Good luck.
one you do get
Thanks.
to do.
Back to me over there.
You can stay there.
You can stay here. All right. So the next site plan item that we're looking at is the Central Topsham Associates 2 LLC, Island Green. Has submitted an application for site plan reapproval for the development of a 48-unit assisted living facility at Audubon Way, tax map R4, block 17, lot 81.
Hi there, my name is Chris Belanger. I'm representing Highland Green. We're here tonight to reapprove the assisted living project that was approved originally back in 2019. We got an extension in 2021. We got it reapproved in 2021. We got an extension last 6 months and it expired again. So we're hoping to reapprove the project officially. I do have a PowerPoint if you'd like to see it, but I guess I want to see if you want to see it.
Well, there were a few members that haven't. I haven't seen. Would you like to say?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. The Highland Green, phase 4D is what we affectionately call it. It's a 48-unit assisted living facility. It was approved for site plan review and subdivision review, and we're asking for reapproval. This is the master plan. Sorry, it's on the side. That's the only way I can see it, that you'd be able to actually see anything. It shows all 4 phases of the project. This is the approved subdivision plan. It was signed, sealed, and recorded. There's no changes that need to be made to that. This is the overall plan. It shows the assisted living building in blue at the bottom, shows the rerouted Audubon Way. We will be building part of that road as part of that project, and we'll be upgrading the rest of the road to 10th Road as required in the original approvals. This is a bigger view of the assisted living building. This is the phase 1 of the building. We anticipate an additional phase to come along. And when we know what we're doing, we'll come back to see you. I do have a sketch that I can show you if you'd like. This is even bigger. This is actually the phase 2 plan that we're working on, but this isn't been presented to you yet. This is not part of the approvals. We're just asking for the phase 1 building to be reapproved.
What's the significance of your red rectangles, Chris?
That's where I discharge a pipe for stormwater, and that's my stormwater buffer.
Okay.
That can't be cut. I'm happy to answer questions. I might have a couple other slides that we can go through quickly. This is Audubon Way, site plan, second sheet, third sheet. Basically at the stream crossing, that's we're going to end the pavement in the first phase, and then in the second phase, we'll upgrade the remainder of the road to 20 feet wide for emergency access.
Right,
And that's-
you'll upgrade for emergency access when you do this phase.
Well, yes, when we
Okay.
build this stage, we'll build the road up to the entrance, and then we'll upgrade the rest of the road to a gravel road. But
Right.
it won't be finished. It'll
Right,
be-
until the second phase. is
Correct.
okay.
This is the building, what it looks like, 2-story. And then I had some notes. Plan was approved in 2019 and 2021 for requesting reapproval. It's 48 units right now, future phases. We don't know. It's about another 45 units, we think. No changes to the approved plans at this time. We have 2 ponds we're anticipating to treat stormwater. And as I said before, the subdivision plan has been recorded and there's no changes required.
Was there a reason why you didn't start sooner?
I went through a pricing process. It was pretty high. He decided to wait. So we want to make sure the approvals are kept current because he does intend to build it at some point, but he's trying to work out the detail.
So COVID, right?
COVID didn't help for sure.
Anyone else have any questions? Chris? I have one question for you, Chris, I think. That is in the memo that you sent on number 5. This is talking about the road again. Talked about, finishing up to the 315 mark, which is just over the stream, like you said. And then it says the developer will also reconnect the new road to the existing road for emergency and construction access.
Right now, there's an existing road there. It's 18+ feet wide. They use it for construction every day. When I build the new road, I need to reconnect that new road to the existing road.
So they use that access via Tedford for construction at this point?
We've got Evergreen Circle upgraded now, so they've been using that access. We haven't been using the Audubon access recently.
And that's been okay for the town as far as Tedford Road traffic of these trucks.
As far as I know.
Yeah, they don't go down into Tetra Road at all. It's just there in the event of an emergency. Right now, it's a sewer line that goes to Tetra.
Right, so you're not using it for construction?
We're not gonna use it for construction. It's just there when you need it.
Okay. So I thought you just told me they are using it for construction access.
They use the access off Village Drive
Right,
up through phase 3. They've been using that for 15 years for
Right.
construction. We just built phase 4A,
Right.
that extension, so they've been using that extension. And I've kind of disrupted the existing construction road because of that new construction. So we rerouted them through Red Bull Drive or through Evergreen Circle.
okay, but they're not coming from Tedford.
They're not coming from Tedford ever. They'll come out of Village if anything.
Okay, that was my main point, that it's not coming from
It's
Tedford.
not coming.
So they're coming Audubon, Dirt Road, and then up that other road.
It hits Audubon,
Yeah.
but then it takes a left into the
Up
woods.
into
It
the
goes
woods,
up to
yeah.
phase 3,
Understood.
down into Tedford Road. We never get there.
Okay. Okay,
I'm
I
probably.
don't know if under condition 10, we need to add a C that says all construction vehicles accessing the site will be via Village Drive and Audubon Way.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, just,
But it's clear.
it's clear that no, we don't have these construction trucks going up and down Tedford,
Amen.
Even though they won't.
even though, because of the
It's way out of the way, so you think it's too far.
That was my only question. Anyone else? All right, entertain a motion.
Didn't we have done the first motion?
We could have. Yes, you were slow.
I was following your leads, but I'll do the first motion. I move the planning board concurs with staff's conclusion that final site plan application materials have been submitted and that the application is complete such that the board may proceed with substantive review of the application and identification of any further information required from the applicant.
Second, moved and seconded. Any comments? All in favor? Yes. All right,
Thank you.
now we got another, we got a
Oh,
real.
We're done.
That one just said that we've got the information.
Now
It's not half-baked.
we can have the substantive discussion.
We did.
Second and third. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, okay. I move the requested waivers for 175-12, general parking design, and section 175-10, additional landscape standards are approved. I'll second that.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Show unanimous. All right.
Now, the frosting on the big. Now we go to frosting, yeah. I move the final site plan review application for Highland Green Phase 4D, tax map R04, lots 17A-1, meets the applicable standards in the site plan review ordinance, chapter 175, and the zoning ordinance, chapter 225, and is approved with the staff recommended conditions and findings identified in the staff memo dated May 25, 2023, with the one amendment under specific condition 10, that all construction access is via Village Drive.
No second. All right, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Show unanimous. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
That's it.
Thank you.
Chris, can you? Stop sharing, actually, maybe I can just.
Thank you again.
I'm sharing still, let's see if I can get you.
Are you to the public here?
Yeah. You
I
said,
represented the seller on that land. It closed quite a while ago. Again, I can recuse or I can participate.
Participate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, we have a public hearing. Bellsbar Ridge LLC has submitted a subdivision application for a proposed 82-unit mobile home park expansion at 263 Lewiston Road, tax map R05, lot 034. So, please.
thank you.
Want to do that?
Well, we're having technical difficulties. I would say, I'd like to make a motion prior to starting this, since the staff have reviewed the application and determined that it is complete. I move that the planning board concurs with the staff conclusion that the final subdivision plan application materials have been submitted and the application is complete, such that the board may proceed with a substantive review of the application and identification of any further information required of the applicant.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing or hearing that, all in favor, all opposed, all right, unanimous, thank you. So please go ahead and introduce yourself and begin.
Good evening, my name is Craig Sweet with Paradigm Consultants, representing Bellsbar Ridge tonight. This project was in front of you last fall, so we'll just go over. So Bellsbar Ridge is looking to expand their existing mobile home park to phase 2 to the north. There's a 82-acre mobile home overlay zone that they're looking to expand onto, 82 units. And it'll connect to the existing roadways of the first phase, Andrews Drive and Industry and Corey Lane, which as part of the proposal are also being changed, Corey Lane to Alden Drive and Andrew Street to Aiden Street. So the proposed project will feature, as I mentioned, 82 units in total. Each lot is designed to be a minimum of 12,000 square feet. And they're going to be served by shared septic systems. There are 39 septic systems throughout the site for the lots, and a new public water supply will be provided via 2 new wells on the site. And in conversation with the fire department, we've added 3 10,000-gallon cisterns on the site for fire suppression. One is, you can see my mouth, it's right at the corner of Feldspar Circle and Alden, and then the other one is at the corner of Aiden and Colson Road, and then another one up probably towards the end of Aiden Street. All the stormwater on site is treated by 4 large gravel wetlands shown in the blue. And then the project will feature a total of about 6,200 linear feet of new roadway, and connected by a gravel access drive for emergency access. It will not be gated, but will be signed for emergency vehicle only, and will be a gravel road designed to town standards. The remainders of the road will be designed to town standards, but are not going to be off the town, they're going to remain private. In between Aiden and Colson, there's going to be a 6.3 acre area of open space with a trail for residents to walk and use. After after the previous plan board meeting, the applicant did meet with the Trail Rider Club because there are some snowmobile site, trails on the site currently and informed them of the project and they've agreed to work together to relocate those trails when the time comes. And then we also in November met with the Conservation Commission about the open space and we received their blessing as well. We are requesting 2 waivers for one for the dead end roads. Due to the wetlands on site and the configuration of it, we've requested that, and then one additional one for having a driveway for lot 63 off of the turnaround area toward the end of this road right here. And then one other thing I wanted to note is that the project will be constructed in about 4 phases. With the first phase being Allen Drive, and then phase 2, when phase 2 is constructed, the gravel access drive will be constructed as well. And so on. At that, I'll turn it back over to the board. If they have any questions, if you have any questions.
So I guess anyone down this Dan or Carrie or Scott, any questions?
Here's my only question related to the SLOTA review. So the town has designated authority. Is it just for the stormwater portion of SLOTA, or is it for the full wetlands and site development?
As far as I know, it's for the whole.
Okay.
We do have a NERPA permit in DEP, working with DEP around the wetlands disturbance.
Okay. I was just reading through the Drumlin environmental memo, they raising some concerns of wetlands and water supply well and that sort of thing.
Correct.
I didn't know if that was part of the peer review or somehow that got addressed.
Our peer reviewer had recommended that a hydrogeologic study be done, and Drumlin has been working with Mark
Mark
Sensi.
Sensi, yeah,
Okay.
he's been out and done some studies. And he has indicated us that there's no issues. He just gets some additional information for drawing. We're working together.
Was there a reason why you didn't make that access road a road? I'm just curious, for connectivity and,
I mean, it'll be open, so if people need to use it, but we wanted to kind of encourage the existing roads as they are there. In general, that's the main reason we want to keep the right of way as narrow as possible, with wetland disturbance, so by doing the gravel road, it can turn it a little bit.
So one of the waivers was dead end road,
Yes.
right? And there, I know there was, I don't know if there was anything new in today's information, but maybe if you would just go through that very briefly.
Yes, so we requested the waivers for the dead end roads for these two in here. Due to the wetland areas, we tried to limit as much wetland disturbance as possible on the site. These lots up here are bound by a couple different wetlands. And then over here, this is also bound, there's some wetlands on the neighboring property. And the property to the north there's a central main power corridor in between, and that has a cul-de-sac as well. I believe that there would be no connectivity there. And to the east is 295 as well. So there's not really any lots. There's no lots around that we'll be able to connect to in the future, and we try to limit as much wetland disturbance as possible as well.
Did you have anything? All right, anyone this direction? No, all right, unless you had anything else for us, I'm gonna open up for public hearing.
Sure.
Hearing, if anyone has any questions, concerns, or anything you'd like to discuss, please step forward. Identify yourself and your address, please.
Hey, my name is Bob Frank, and I live right before that development. And my concern is that right now there's only one road that goes back there, but it's anticipating 82. I don't know how many cars, but at least 82 cars. And I'm just wondering where the roads are gonna go. you know, are we gonna have a traffic situation? Is it gonna be like a super highway coming up to my right? I have a unit and then there's another unit and then there's a road. And, I'm just concerned about there not being enough roads and traffic issues.
We'll ask the applicant in a second. Anything else?
No, that's. Well, I know he was gonna develop it. I'm just concerned about where the roads are gonna go.
Okay. Thank you. Can you address that?
So we had during the application process, we had, Sebago Technics had done a traffic analysis of it. And it didn't trigger any additional requirements. And then for both roads, existing Andrew and Corey both connect into, Route 196, and those connections are gonna remain, they're gonna go straight through. And then that's partially, you know, there people who are, there's 30 units on this end that are encouraged by the gravel access drive being gravel to only access on this side, and then the remaining 52 on this side would be just coming up from the existing Andrews Street. We had looked at it, we didn't, you know, there weren't any additional traffic concerns in the area.
Sir, do you have any other questions or?
No, I can't picture it. I can't picture the traffic with that many people coming down those few roads. My other question was, where is that?
Please go ahead and step back up to the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
The way the place is laid out now, I just wasn't sure where that second road is. I'm not sure where it's gonna go through. But that's beside the point. I'm just concerned about that many people back there and traffic issues.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Albert. I'm a current resident of the park. I lived there for about a year, moved away and just recently moved back, and I'm semi-retired. I've lived in a lot of mobile home parks in the country, believe it or not. This is a very nice park. It's very well run. Yes, I agree with him. Traffic can be something of an issue, especially like at 7 o'clock in the morning. You try to take a left turn out of there, it's difficult. That might need to be addressed at some point. But at this stage of the game, it's a great idea. It's a wonderful plan. Those two roads is already there. There's just gonna be a few more cars on the road. I just wanted to give my thumbs up for it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments or concerns? Do you have anybody?
We do not.
Okay, all right. Then I'm gonna close the public hearing. Thank you. So back to this very briefly.
Yes.
I know you had someone look at traffic.
Yes.
The peer review for our peer reviewer has looked at your application and all the facets of it, including traffic. I'm not saying it could become an issue, but we at least have the experts look at it, sir. So, and I'm not a traffic expert, so I think we're probably okay there.
You know, the traffic issues on 196 are traffic issues on 196. And the traffic that we have for these developments meet the guidelines for, you know, the limited traffic they have. There's going to be problems with left turns coming out onto 196. Regardless, hopefully it's something, and we had a 196 plan, and you know, DOT is talking about different options over the years, but it seems like the 196 problem. It's not this project's problem. But it is clearly understood that that roadway, high volume.
And I do like the fact that the two existing roads are being used and roughly 60% of the development is on one side, 40% on the other, so it does kind of, I think it was thought out.
It
Well-
lends itself to try to,
It lends itself, I think it generally fits in harmoniously with the existing development, you know, and it is a wetland area back there, but it seems to me that it's been kind of laid out to minimize the impacts. I don't recall if the existing roads in there, private roads.
The existing ones, they're town maintains, well, just Andrew, I believe, correct, yeah. Because we've had a turnaround at the end of that, and then the rest are private maintained.
And I'm assuming the intent of these roads gonna be built to town standards.
They're gonna be built to town standards, but they're gonna be privately maintained.
Okay.
They're built to all the town standards.
So,
I think you probably said it, I'm not sticking in my brain. But the gravel connector road,
Yes.
is that the plan to have it gated or not?
No gate, but there's gonna be signage for it to be like emergency only kind of thing. Someone needs to go down it, to be able to, it'll be built to the proper specs and it'll be plowed in the winter for fire department use.
thank you.
Yeah, in regards to that, you know, for the waiver, it seems like a really good idea, I think. Allowing connectivity for emergency services, but also for the, you know, for the kids to ride their bikes over there, et cetera, be able to get around. And back to the traffic as far as keeping folks separate, not driving through there. It seems like a great way to address that dead end issue.
so any more discussion otherwise?
I move that the requested waivers for 191.6B and 185.8B 13.5 are granted due to the wetland constraints that complicate connectivity based on the planning board concurrence with staff recommendations listed on page 2 of the staff memo dated May 25th, 2023.
Do we have a second?
It's yours.
Okay, Ron is second.
Ron seconded.
Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed, unanimous, thank you.
I move that the final subdivision review application for Topsham Mobile Home Park, tax map R5, lot 34, meets the applicable standards to the subdivision review ordinance, chapter 191, and the zoning ordinance, chapter 225, including the regulations 225-48, manufactured housing and mobile home parks, is approved with the staff recommended conditions and findings as identified in staff memo dated May 25th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed, all right. Thank you. So, planning board representation on the comprehensive plan committee.
If
You-
you nominated,
you
I
volunteer?
shall not run, like it, I shall not serve. I think that's the famous quote.
All right, I understand Larry has volunteered. Any? Okay. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, good. Thank you. So Larry, you're official.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Right. So before we adjourn, thank you both for coming and testifying. Right. All right,
So
so moved. All right, let's go. All in favor? All opposed?